As you can see behind me right now, I've pretty much got everything removed except for one of the valves on cylinder number 3. So I'm going to be showing you on that particular cylinder how to remove the valve train components. But before we do so, we need to run through a checklist of things we need to purchase or tools we need to have. One of those things we need to have is valve spring compressor. This one in particular is Craftsman. Only about 20 bucks at Sears. You can get them at any Craftsman dealer. Nice design, had no problems with it, pretty sturdy. One problem I do have with this one is it does not work on these motors at all. There's just too much material inside those cylinders for this face to actually make a good contact with the retainers themselves. So after doing some searching around, found out if you take a 21 or up to a 24 millimeter deep socket, pretty much take it, put the butt in on the face, make sure this side has a good firm seat on the retainer, and compress the spring, and voila. But before you do that, you want to have a nice little open face, which is what I've done here. Took a cutting wheel on my Dremel, cut a nice little face about the diameter of the socket itself, so that when I compress the springs and the keepers fall out, I'll be able to get in there with the magnet, $1.99, really nice magnet, and grab those keepers out. So other than that, let's see what we can do. Okay, what we're looking at here is the top side of the cylinder head. In these holes right here where the spark plugs sit, these galleys are where the cams sit on, and in these holes right here are the rest of the valve train. The valves, valve springs, retainers, etc., etc. So what you want to do here first is you want to go ahead and remove the lifters themselves. And to do that, you just take the magnet, put it on the face of the hydraulic lifter, and just pull out. This will give you the ability to look down and see the retainers and give you access for the compressor. Alright, the next thing we're going to be doing here is we're going to be compressing these springs. So to start off with, you need to grab the valve spring compressor, and this end actually is going to be making contact with the center of the valve right there, and this end right here is going to be actually making contact with the socket that I showed you earlier. So go ahead and get it nice and parallel with the heads. Don't try to compress these springs with the compressor sitting perpendicular with the heads. When you do this, this part actually starts closing in and getting closer to this surface where the valve cover sits on, and if you're not careful, you can actually damage this surface. So you always want to make sure it's sitting parallel with the heads. Get it nice and squared up with the valve. Next thing you want to do is grab that socket I showed you earlier and put it down the hole where there's retainer at, and have the other side of the compressor sitting on that socket. Okay, next thing we're going to be doing here is we're going to be compressing the springs. So go ahead and take the compressor and start compressing those springs. You're going to hear a series of clicks as each time you compress it so that the compressor locks. There's another one. And you want to keep doing it until those retainers either fall out or you feel that you've taken all the pressure off those keepers. Once you've done so, take the magnet I showed you and just kind of, get it in there. It's going to kind of want to grab to anything it can and just grab those keepers out. And that's that. Okay, now we've got the keepers out, we can go ahead and take the pressure off the springs. There's a quick release lever on the compressor, so just go ahead and pull that and slowly start backing off the pressure that's on the springs until you've released all the pressure, and the rest of the stuff should start falling out. Next thing you want to do is grab the magnet, go ahead and grab the retainer, the valve spring itself, and you can go ahead and push the valve through the bottom. And there's also a little spring seat at the bottom. Just grab that with the magnet. One thing that is missing right now is the valve stem seals. I've already removed those prior to making this video. Basic removal for that is just take some long needle nose pliers and just kind of try to wiggle them off.